Yo guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another race recap. My first race back in 4 months. I can't believe it. I can't remember the last time I went this long without racing. And I decided to jump just straight into a 95-mile road race. So why so long since I've raced? Well, some personal stuff going on. There was a loss in the family. I moved. That was a big thing. And then I got pretty sick. I'm not sure if it was COVID or not. But in any case, 26 fitness. I went all the way down to 26 fitness. Compared to where you can see I usually am over here in the off season. 49 is kind of where I dip to. And, you know, I reached like close to 90 or so, something like that. And by the time I was doing this race was right about there. So I was at 58. It's not 90, but it's not nothing. So let's talk about really fast what I did through here. And I focused on the fundamentals. I went back after a period of no training this long. I went back to the basics. For those masterclass members out there, I was doing basics blocks 1 and 2, and I was adding a little bit more zone 2. So a lot of zone 2 training, like 90% zone 2 training with some really strategically placed tempo and sweet spot intervals worked in there. But that's largely what I did. So endurance-wise, I was feeling pretty good. Not great, but definitely missing the high end. So how is that going to impact the race? We'll get there. First, let's talk about my equipment, because I know a lot of you are really interested in what kind of equipment I'm running, especially for a race like this. This is the San Ardo road race. Sections of really bad pavement, so the wheel and the tire selection is going to be quite important. And I kind of took a little bit of a risk, meaning I didn't go with my standard reserve setup that comes stock on my Cervelo Soloist. I went with this brand, number 6, which I've been testing a little bit. I'm actually making a whole video about it. But after a couple of weeks of riding it, logging a lot of miles, I felt comfortable using these in the race for a couple of reasons. And I'm not going to go into details, so you can watch the video I'll release about the wheels soon. But the biggest thing is they accommodate really big tires, which is going to make for a more enjoyable experience on this crappy pavement. I'm using Continental GP 5000 30 millimeters, which actually go up to like, I think 33 when they are fully inflated on these wheels. So that's the big thing. Otherwise, the stock Soloist setup here that you guys know, I've been running this all year. It has an Envy bar and stem, 120 millimeter stem. It's the 37 bars on the top that flare out to 42, so you get that aerodynamic benefit on top, and then you can still get the torque and the sprinting down in the drops. Specialized power saddle, that's not stock on the bike either. And then I have a slightly larger big ring on the front. That's a 50 tooth, which is going to play an important role later on in this race. So, without any further ado, let's dive into some race footage. Okay, first a message from today's video sponsor, Factor. Factor is a meal delivery service. They provide fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals right to your front doorstep. Super easy and convenient. Unlike those other services where you get a box full of ingredients, this is even easier. Everything's already put together. We popped these trays into the oven for 7 minutes and fed the whole family. You can see these are delicious. We have very little time around here to cook, so this is just absolutely perfect for us. And with 35 weekly options, there's always something out there that's going to fit your needs. We also got these add-ons, these juices, which would recommend. They were fantastic. So head over to factor75.com or click the link below and use code NORCAL50 to get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders. That's code NORCAL50 at factor75.com to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month of orders. Now back to the video. Okay, so super early on, here we are, and I am on the front. In fact, I'm off the front. And let's pop over to Strava, actually, because I kind of want to establish how this race played out. It's 94 miles. You can see it's almost 4 hours of racing. And this was played out in 3 parts. So part 1 is me rolling off the front, and that is here at the end of lap 1. Let's take a look, because this power file really tells a story. You can see these spikes in power are me kind of following moves off the front, and then eventually me riding off the front, because my role on the team on this day was to support Maddie. Maddie is my teammate on Team Mike's bikes. He had won the race last year, so it's my job to give him an armchair ride. I want him to use as little energy as possible until at least the last lap. Ideally, until the final corner, I can lead him out. So in order to do that, I need to cover all these moves, and that's what this looks like right here. This is my power. This is my heart rate in red, and eventually I roll off the front. Now, what this looks like is actually not that exciting, because the power of that slingshot we've talked about. You can see the actual moment I got off the front right here is what? It's like 455 for 7 seconds. I mean, that's not much power. Most people are able to do that sort of power. And then I'm off the front. And it's a weird thing that happens because this moment when I'm off the front, the field just kind of watched me roll. And I didn't go absolutely nuts. My heart rate's 160. It's in check, 328 watts for 8.5 minutes. And this accomplished 2 tasks. One, my teammate Matty's not doing any work while he's got a teammate off the front. And number 2, the competition is having to chase me back. Now, like, it's not a hard task to chase me back. I'm not a do 330 for the next 3 hours type of rider, but I put a little bit of pressure on them, and that was a good thing. So I just continued rolling really consistent, kept it within myself until I finally got brought back. Actually, I didn't even get brought back. When they brought me back to about maybe 5 or 7 seconds, that's when you can see I brought my power down. And right through here, 239 watts. Because of all of that Zone 2 base training that I did, I'm able to recover at this kind of Zone 2 power. My heart rate comes back down into the low 140s. And the reason I did that is to get ready for the counterattacks. They always happen when a breakaway is brought back. Even a short-lived 8.5-minute breakaway like I was on gets brought back. Counterattacks go. And I wanted to be prepared to cover those because, again, the whole purpose is to give Matty the easiest ride possible, and you can see these surges in power are me following those counterattacks and making sure that we're represented. And anyway, that kind of concludes part 1 of this 94-mile road race. And so the next part of the race was this wild chase. And yes, that is correct. We are going 36 miles an hour on the flats here in a mad dash to bring back the breakaway, which snuck away. And this is a little bit controversial. Let's pop back over to Strava and let's take a look at what happened. So let me see if I can find it. Yeah, shortly after I was brought back, here's something you don't see very often. Speed goes to 0. And that's because we took a pee break. Now, this isn't actually that uncommon in road races. The team stop, everyone takes a leak at some inconsequential moment in the race, and everyone agrees to this. Or so they said they agreed to this, except one team decided this was their chance to get away, to win the race, to establish a breakaway when everyone else is sitting back and taking a leak. And good thing for us, kind of everyone got together to chase it back. And that's exactly what we're doing now. And you can see, I mean, some of these pulls we were taking are like no joke. Like, this was a really hard chase back, you guys. You can see when I'm on the front doing pulls, there's like a minute and a half pull. 404 watts. There's another one here. You know, you can see I take a few pulls. Kind of in that range, 350. You can see I'm back in the draft. Another one, which minute 10, 415. These are big pulls, 32 miles an hour average. And it was all in an attempt to bring back that group that attacked during the pee break. And we eventually do bring them back, coming into lap number 3. Okay, so then coming into the final lap in the tailwind section here, we're going to have a little bit of deja vu. Same part on the course, same move. I find myself off the front again, and I decided just to give it another rip, giving Matty yet another opportunity to sit back and rest. And the difference this time is I'm joined at first by Brad, Team Bole Factory Racing, friend of the channel, and I was stoked with this. We continue rolling it. Moments later, another solo bridge comes across. This is Cam from Alto Velo. This is looking even better. These are 2 of the main teams, the main competition in the race, which means even fewer people are willing to chase. And then a little bit later on, 2 more join, these 2 individual riders who ended up being really consequential in this race. More on them in a little bit. And then finally, to round out the group of 6, Will from Olympic Club makes it across. And at this point, we're flying. Like, we're committed to this breakaway now. But I'm looking around, I'm thinking, man, I've done a lot of work up until this moment. Like, this wasn't really the plan. You know, under normal circumstances, normal fitness, and not having burned a bunch of matches earlier on in this race, I would be thrilled with this situation on the road. But given the circumstances, I wasn't sure I could seal the deal from this position. So I started taking softer pulls. Other people started taking softer pulls. Hey guys, it's a 94-mile road race. It's a difficult situation. And this is always risky because when the pace slows a little bit, it really encourages counterattacks. And that's exactly what happened with about a half a lap to go. You can see this counterattack by Trevor. And at first, Cam responds. I'm on it, and I could tell right away that both Will and Brad were a little bit slower to respond to it, and that's very telling this deep into a race. And Trevor must have noticed that too, because moments later on this little kicker straight into the tailwind, which had really picked up at this moment, look at him just go thermonuclear. Guys, I'm doing 650 watts, and he's passing me like I'm standing still. This is, what, mile 90? 85, 90? He must be doing 1,200 up and over this climb in the tailwind. Look, I'm still doing close to 500, and he's just getting away from us. So it's at this point where I kind of have to step on it, do some extra power, because we need to keep him on a leash. I realize this is probably hurting the folks behind. Just a few kilometers before this, he attacked, and it already introduced some disruption, but we cannot sit around. If he opens up 30 seconds at this point in this massive tailwind, it'll probably be race over. So in the process, you can see, uh-oh, we're missing somebody. That's Brad dropped. And this is exactly what Trevor's hoping for, who is the solo guy off the front, is dropped riders, chaos, confusion in the chase. I mean, this is how solo efforts work this deep into a race. But we're gonna continue. I'm gonna talk to the boys here. I don't know if the GoPro audio is gonna pick it up. I'm gonna talk to the boys like, all right, chill. There's plenty of racing left. Let's continue rolling turns, and we're gonna see if we can bring him back. But you can see we're just a total mess. I mean, we're not rotating anymore. Here's Jesse just kind of rolling off the front. We're not a cohesive chase group anymore. We're not rotating. We're not pace lining. Here I am over 700 watts, 750 watts. The last thing I want to be doing with 10Ks left. And this is exactly what Trevor wants, who's off the front, is this chaos behind. And at this point, you guys, I honestly thought, like, we're not bringing him back. You can see him up there. I don't know if you just caught a glimpse of him. He's still up there by, I don't know, 25 seconds or something like that. It's a little deceiving because we're going 33 miles an hour. But we're not doing what we should be doing right now, which is everybody just rotating cleanly and make it a 4 versus 1 situation. Jesse's gonna give me the elbow flick. I'm gonna try to delay. See, I'm not innocent either in this. I'm trying to skip poles. I'm not going all in right now because I'm also thinking about the finish. This is what makes this sport so dynamic and so interesting. Is, you know, I want obviously to bring back Trevor, but I don't want to completely destroy myself in the process. So I'm gonna reluctantly come through. And I'm going to take this pole at 330. That's not so bad, actually. A little bit more now, 375 watts. But I'm looking over my left-hand shoulder right now, and if I had a rear camera, it would tell a different story. And that story is like a total mess. Because, yeah, I'm going to elbow flick through, and you can see this is Jesse again. So we lost Cam. So that's 2 now we've lost. Will's been skipping turns. He has no obligation to pull through. He's going to take one kind of reluctantly here, but you kind of get the idea. This is exactly why late race breakaways can be successful. And so we do end up bringing him back, but at what cost, right? I mean, it's been basically Jesse and I doing all of the rotating. Will's been skipping pulls. Again, fair play. Like, I'm a sprinter, Will's not, and he's thinking, he's playing the game, right? This is bike racing. But now we're inside of 5Ks to go. I am completely smoked. I don't know what Trevor has left. I mean, that was such a hard effort, but dude went, 1,200 watts up and over that hill, and then he was solo for the next 10 kilometers or whatever that was. So I don't know what he has. I am just begging for a rest right now. Like, under no circumstances am I going to continue driving the pace at this point. In fact, I'm hoping that teammates are going to still jump across, join a chase group or whatever, and join us here in the last 5K, because I am seeing cross-eyed, guys, and we still have 5 kilometers to go. We still have that hill to negotiate in the crosswind, so let's skip forward a little bit, see how that plays out. All right, last kilometer, we're coming up the hill for the last time. 4 of us left in this lead group, fighting it out for the win. Massive right-to-left crosswind. That's why I'm overlapping like this. And by the way, Jesse, who's new to racing, incredibly strong, salty boy here on the right. He should have been all the way on the left and not allowed any of us to enjoy the benefit of the draft here. If he was all the way on the left-hand side of the road, then we wouldn't be able to get any draft, and he would probably have been able to ride at least me off the wheel. I don't know about the other guys, but I was very thankful that he gave me some space right here, because there is a center line rule. You're not allowed to go to the left of the double yellow line. But here we are, 650 meters. And it's hard to watch this, you guys. Like, I would usually be licking my chops, but I have to watch Trevor just go here with 500 meters to go. This is the move. Will has to go. There is no reaction from me. I have nothing left, guys. Endurance was good. No top end. really no speed work done in the training, and I'm paying for it now. I'm paying for it now in the training, and I'm paying for it now in those early efforts. So I unfortunately just have to watch first and second just right away here. 200 meters to go, and I'm just thinking, how can I salvage a step on the podium? And that's just to kind of sit back and hopefully out sprint Jesse here for third place. Because if I would have followed those two other moves, I would have been stuck in no man's land, and I would have just completely imploded. So instead, kind of give a little burst. I'm not even going to call it a sprint. I give it a little burst in speed here and come by for third. Not the most exciting finish, but guys, for third, I am happy. I am stoked to be back racing with the boys. I'm happy to be standing on the box. I really don't know what to expect after taking such a period off of the bike, off of training, and certainly off of racing. So huge congrats to Trevor. Clearly the strongest guy of the day. He deserves the win. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.